I wanted to debunk some best practices around products and services and your product suite in this video because I applied so many of those so-called best practices with my previous business, which was a sustainable fashion consultancy. And it left me really burnt out, really resentful, and also I left so much money on the table. So I wanted to talk about it in this video. So the first best practice everyone always talks about is making sure that your first product and your first service is really, really good. And I wholeheartedly agree with that, but there is a caveat. I don't think you can just build that first product in silo without thinking strategically about the rest of your product suite. Because what I did was I built a really great course that was so fleshed out, that had so much stuff in it. And then when people went through it, they were good. They were set up and I had a low repeat customer rate because they didn't need to come back to me for anything else because they had already gotten everything they needed out of that course. And I also think back then, from a mindset perspective, I felt weird charging for things that came quote unquote easy to me. So then I felt like I needed to chock my products and services full of stuff. A lot of the times it left my clients feeling really overwhelmed. And I now know it's actually better to give people exactly what they need to achieve the transformation end result. So it is important to focus on that one product, get it really good. And I talk about that with my clients all the time. But at the same time, you need to think about the rest of your product suite and how you can continuously make money or make revenue off of your client and how you can continue to support them as they grow with you and your business. So you want to continuously think about your customer lifetime value or LTV because you don't want the situation that I had previously where you spend all this work, spend all this time, dedicate all these resources and energy to get this customer in the door. And then they buy this product, they buy the service, and then that's it. And then you lose them. You want to have things you can upsell to them or downsell to them or whatever. And if you put everything into that one product, it's going to be really overwhelming probably. And then you probably won't be able to make another cent because anything else you release is not going to live up to that potential because you literally put everything in that product. So anyways, that's the first thing I would really advise against. And in regards to your product suite, a lot of people talk about having low ticket items. So these are cheaper, more accessible things that your ideal customer can purchase without really thinking too much about it. And then they can get the value. Hopefully they ascend through the rest of your products. So then to your medium ticket offer or your signature product or service. And then eventually they love that. And then they can go to the top, which is your high ticket offer or your most premium product. People talk about that all the time, but they don't really talk about how you build it out and how you should think about it. And what I've realized is it makes the most sense to concentrate first on your middle offering, your signature offer, the one that you're going to make most of your revenue from. Focus on that, make it really, really good. But at the same time, like I just referenced, you want to keep in the back of your mind, what lower ticket or downsell opportunities do I have here? And think through after they go through this service or after they go through this program or after they receive this product, what's the next logical step? What's the next transformation they're trying to get? And then try to make another product, program, service above that so that you can upsell them. So I would not build in silo. That's definitely the mistake I did. You also want to think through a variety of different low ticket offers you can have because then you can have continuous evergreen sales or just sales running in the background without you needing to deliver it. So be strategic about that. And I really wasn't. 95% of my income came from the Launch Your Brand course. And then of course I did consulting on top of that, but then the consulting was also leveraged on the course because I would get a lot of my clients to go through the course to save time. And then we would troubleshoot, customize it for their brand, and then also answer questions on calls. So yeah, it was really reliant on that. And that's just not sustainable. And this 2.0 version of my business, I'm all about how I can sustainably grow and scale my business. And I'm helping my clients do the same because I know there's a lot of people out there that are teaching you best practices that aren't sustainable. You can do it for a couple months and then you fizzle out. And without consistency, you can't grow and you can't achieve your version of success. That's the other thing too. People love to push a certain version of success down people's throats, whether it's income goals, whether it's how much you should be working, all that stuff. But everyone's situation is different. Everyone wants different things out of life. And so it's important that you get quiet, you get introspective and think about what's important to you. And that's what I am now doing. I'm really embodying that and living that and figuring it out and supporting my clients through it too. I wanted to let you know that I have a brand new mini course that I am so proud of. It's called Your Success Roadmap. And like the title suggests, we are going to get quiet, get introspective, figure out what your version of success is, and then we're going to figure out a roadmap to get there because I want you to have a vision of what success looks like to you. We want to make sure that's crystal clear, and then you need to work towards it and you need to have a plan. In the mini course, Your Success Roadmap, you will be able to do just that. And you can click the link down below to enroll. It's absolutely free, or you can visit selenaho.com/roadmap. But I am really excited. I hope you sign up and go through it because it'll be really, really helpful. Another best practice when it comes to service-based businesses, so whether you're a business consultant, a business coach, or agency model, you will eventually cap out from a revenue perspective because you can only increase your hourly rate so much until there's only a certain amount of people that can afford your services, and or you either work yourself to the bone and you take on more clients. So that's really your only two options because you are trading time for money. And initially, that's totally fine because you're getting experience and you can charge a good hourly rate. But the reality is you are exchanging your time, which is finite, for money. And so if you want to make more of that money with your finite time, you need to figure out ways to free up that time. You could then create courses, or you do programs, or you do group coaching, or whatever that looks like, so that you can now service many people and it's not one-to-one. So your time's no longer finite. You've just created more time for yourself. And I agree with this. However, I don't think a lot of people talk about how you should actually execute this best practice. So back when I was running my sustainable fashion consultancy, I was getting really booked up with clients, which is such a privileged and amazing place to be. But also I was so burnt out and I hit this income ceiling and I had no idea how I was going to pass it without trying to figure out how I could clone myself. I learned about courses and programs and I was like, okay, this makes sense. I'm going to do this because I found for a lot of my startups, smaller businesses, I was repeating the same thing on the calls. I was telling them the exact same things. I was explaining it to them and I was like, oh, I wish you could just watch a video of me teaching the concept. And then once we got on the call, you reviewed it, you'd understand it. You now just have implementation questions or you have support questions. And that would be a better use of everyone's time. So I started to make this course and I got really cocky and I got really confident. And I was like, you know what? I've worked with so many clients before. I've got this. I know exactly what the course is going to be. And for me, I always do the full send. I'm not someone that is able to just record something and put it out there. I need to be intentional about it. I need to be strategic about it. There needs to be a beautiful slide deck. I need to make sure that it's edited. It's like on a beautiful platform. Like I'm someone that goes all out. I do the full send. And because of that, I went all out for this first iteration of the course, and I deeply, deeply regret that. I think I should have live taught the concepts, even though I had the experience with one-on-one clients, but I think in a group capacity, it's a little bit different. I should have live taught the lessons first, worked out the kinks, listened to the feedback, take note of the questions I was receiving to improve the content. But I didn't do that. I perfected it from the get-go. And after I did it the first round, I was like, oh, I need to rearrange some things. I need to split out some things because some things were way too overwhelming. It's inevitable that when you're creating a new course, a new program, you are going to improve. There are going to be future iterations. So my advice to you is to not go guns blazing like I did out of the gate and perfect it. I would try to make an MVP and then continuously do it and only do that final recording, editing, everything when you're confident in it. And just know too that some lessons may need to continuously be refreshed. As an example, my social media lessons, I was updating them pretty much twice a year just because social media changes so much. So my other tip to you is filming lessons and doing things in a way where you're able to swap things in and out easily. Don't say this is the 23rd lesson of the course as an example, because what if you reorder it, right? Then you have to re-record everything. Just make sure you future-proof yourself and prevent rework, essentially. Those are just some of my product lessons. I have so many others as well. And so if you have any questions, leave them down below. But I am now in my era where I am no longer blindly applying best practices because, like I mentioned, for mentors and other people, they are generalizing and coming up with strategies that should work for various people. But it is up to you to discern whether or not this is going to be helpful for you. And also, like I keep talking about, everyone has different life situations. You have different goals, you have different amount of time, you have different capacities, you have different budgets. So you cannot just blindly apply these best practices. You need to be able to know where you're headed, where you're going, what the roadmap is, what the intention and strategy is. And so if you don't have that, I highly encourage you again to check out my mini course, Your Success Roadmap. It's going to help you cover that. We're going to get quiet, get introspective, figure out what your version of success is, which is so important. We don't want to just blindly execute. We want to make sure it makes sense for you. And then also we're going to develop a roadmap to get there. So again, absolutely free. And you can get it at selinaho.com/roadmap. And the link will be down below for you as well. But any other questions, leave them down below. And as always, cheering you on.